Welcome to Shattermare Live, episode 3. We don't have any guests today, so this is just going to be kind of a hangout stream. And, just going to shoot the shit, talk about current events, comic book stuff, probably. Stuff like that,
Yeah, definitely getting into some video games. And yeah, we can actually even talk about that Dungeons and Dragons movie I finally saw.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I got a few thoughts, good and bad. So
Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that at some point then, too. You'll just have to be our guide, since you've seen it recently. I think I just saw it. I think I saw it once in the theater, maybe twice. So
okay, yeah, it's still pretty fresh.
Refresh my memory. Cool. Well, yeah, I'm here with my two co-hosts, Kyle and William. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Well, I'm Kyle. I, am one of the owners, Shattermare, and I am the writer for Hardly Heroes and Lich in the Kitchen, which is still in progress, but, it'll be out there soon.
Yeah, that's our secret one.
Yep. I'm William J. Headline, or you can call me Morb. I'm the author of Mercenary Guild. You can see the logo on the screen. And we're coming along in that book, but it is going to be a 76-page book. So we'll get there, but you can definitely check out our trailer and sign up on our mailing list as well.
Yeah.
We'll put links in the chat for that.
We have to do that now ourselves, because Flying Feline did all that cool stuff last time. I made her a mod when Luke was here.
All right, so I'll
and then I am now the man formerly known as Horse, because Horseman is taken. But I am Brian. I'm the president of Shattermare, one of the co-owners with Kyle, and I guess the editor-in-chief. I kind of work with Kyle on Hardly Heroes. Let's see, I work with William on Mercenary Guild, and then we've got a couple other teams that we work with on books that we're coming out with. So, when we talk about comic book stuff, we actually also make our own comics.
That's right.
So, at least,
A while of that.
Yeah, you at least can't say we're hypocrites, When we criticize people here and talk shit and have a good time,
Yeah.
we can at least say, yeah, we're doing it. We're doing something.
We're putting stuff out there, and
yeah,
so you'll get your opportunity, but I think people will enjoy what we're putting out, what we already have out at Hardly Heroes.
Yeah.
The good thing, if you hear people on the internet talking about your comic being trash, that means that people care enough to comment on it. So,
that's right.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who would ever actually say that to someone, but
it's like
online,
the worst thing is
different
being
story.
Yeah. Oh, online they say it all the time. Oh, you mean just be truthful about when people watch or hate you something?
Yeah, I mean, there's some people out there that are
whatever they call it,
comic book creators that trash endlessly online. I'm curious if anyone ever sees them at a convention and goes up to them, waits in line, and is like, "Your comic sucks."
Oh no, for sure. I mean, that's
no, yeah, I didn't think so.
Well, I mean, we'll look at a video later. But one of the biggest guys in indie comics right now is Eric July with the Ripperverse. And he, in his videos, he talks about how all of the shit he gets, all the flack is just online. So he's got to really, I mean, love him or hate him, like his comics or not, but he's a big target right now because he's, he launched his own company. He's pretty successful. So he, I believe him when he says that he says oh, I'll go to conventions and I get dapped up, and I think to myself, like, yeah, I mean, when we saw him at MegaCon, I didn't walk up to him and be like, hey, fuck you, sign my comics,
Your comics suck. Can you?
Yeah, I was like, hey, it's Eric July. How's it going, man? It's nice to see you, I
It's
didn't go to
always
the
good to be polite, just
Yeah, and I don't hate the guy. I think the drama is funny and it's entertaining,
yeah,
but it's uh, it he's similar to us. Like I haven't been in the comic industry for decades.
yeah.
I don't have years of experience. I just decided one day with Kyle and a couple other friends, hey, let's make a comic book. Let's make a comic book out of our D&D campaign, and we did it. We're basically amateurs. I'm not afraid to say that. I mean, we're
professional amateurs. Thank you very much.
sure, yeah, we're. I mean, we've evolved into professionals, right? We're making money. We're selling books,
Or is it amateur professional?
or semi-pro. Whatever you want to call it. It's it's like a hobby. No, it's more than a hobby. It's something we do. We make legitimate comic books and we sell them to people and we go to conventions and everything. We don't have a massive internet presence, so we don't have like.
Well, I think the thing is that like Shattermare you weren't on a channel shooting your mouth off how you're gonna, take over the mainstream or whatever,
Until now.
Until now. Yeah.
Welcome to Shattermare Live.
Welcome to the ego stream, the ego verse.
Step one to how we're gonna change the comic book industry.
Because like for me, look, I like to write. I think I'm okay at it. I have ideas. I have good characters, worlds, things like that. I'm not gonna, turn the world. I'm just putting it out there. I hope people enjoy it. And
yeah, but at the same time, it starts with one thing. Like, oh man, I just had flashbacks to Linkin Park songs. But it starts with one thing, and then other people like you hit us up because you were seeing that we were doing comics and fantasy stuff, and you wanted to write. You've been writing for a few years. You have an idea, you want to create it. So that's I mean, we don't have massive success. We don't have hundreds of thousands of followers, but it's an organic thing. Not to say that we won't. Anyways, the point I was making about Eric is when he says things like he goes to places and people are nice to him in person, I totally believe him, because I don't think people are anonymous or personalities online. You can talk shit to someone all day, but it's different to be in person in front of somebody.
Yeah,
whether they
100%.
You get the two extremes because people will just are not honest to people in person when critiquing them. And I do sales for a living, so I can tell you there are a lot of people that will not tell me no, and they'll try and leave me in like that in between where they're like, maybe he'll just go away if I don't. Like, no, just tell me you don't want my shit.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I mean, even just for comics, keeping in comics, all the stores we went to, all the people we've talked to, they
try to
they
convince us that we should not be in their store.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Well, what's worse
That's
is like some of the. Well, I don't want to disparage anybody or their stores, but it's just funny.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that.
I know what you're talking about. I know.
I mean, I got at least two places in mind.
Yeah, I'm thinking of one of them for sure. But well, the funny thing is, ironically, in that regard, we are technically competing with the mainstream more than Eric July is. If you want to get into it, like these YouTubers are just selling. I don't want to say just selling, but it's easy to sell like a plushie or a comic book or like coffee.
Yeah, fuck it. I won't even go down the coffee road.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. It's easy to sell that to a percentage of your audience after, they've been following you for years and you've built up you've amassed a pretty sizable subscriber base. It's another thing to sell something organically or literally compete where you're on the same shelf as the books that you spent the last 3 years criticizing, talking shit about.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah, that's
I
because
don't
the
know. I
whole
guess
distribution network and the comic book store scene is kind of odd. I guess is how I would put it politely.
yeah, but I mean, he's got the money. He could just pay to be in Diamond.
He could. Yeah, that's true. He could.
I mean, if he wanted to do it, right? I mean, there's no reason not to because there is really no reason for him to do so because with crowdfunding and running your own campaigns and doing everything directly through your website or whatever, he doesn't need to. That's more or less, if I was going to talk to Eric, that would kind of be my, like my professional challenge to him. That would be the challenge I issue him. Like,
And
hey,
he wouldn't listen.
well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he doesn't know me, like he doesn't owe me anything, but just hypothetically,
Like, who the fuck are you?
yeah, but hypothetically, like, we see him at MegaCon next year or something again. We go to the table and I'm like, hey man, I have a challenge for you, okay? Because really, if you want to, like, the best way to get at all the haters and all the detractors, whatever you want to call them, is just shut them up by doing what you say you're going to do, right? Like people believe you. You have a lot more credibility if you just practice what you preach. So if he was like, okay, cool, yeah, I'm gonna get into comics, I'm gonna beat these people at their own game, I'd be like, holy shit. Like, depending on whatever you thought about the book and the quality of the book itself, I would be like, holy shit, this guy's doing it. You know what I mean? Like, imagine you came out with your next YouTube video. What is his channel? Whatever his like channel is, just for the comic stuff. You're like, okay, guys, guess what? I just signed up for Diamond and Lunar, or Penguin, or whoever. There's multiple distributors now, but he's like, okay, I'm gonna be in these shops or these select shops. You could even cater it where you put out, like something. You put out an announcement. You're like, hey, comic shops in the country, hit me up. Like, I'll give you a good retailer deal.
Yeah.
And I'll even travel around and do like on the location live stream. But he was busy shooting like hilariously bad live action trailers for his comic books.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Hilariously bad.
They're pretty bad. I don't know if you've seen the.
If I had the money, I would love to have a hilariously bad live action Harley Heroes trailer.
Would you? Wouldn't you want it to be good?
Ideally.
I mean, I would not go straight from a comic book to a live I would do the animation that we've been talking about doing.
Oh yeah.
I would
hilariously bad, that sticks in your head too.
It does, yeah.
Like, it's something really, really good, or just really terrible where it's laughable.
He could be the Tommy Wiseau of comic books.
Yeah.
Hey, he might go that route, yeah. He might go that way,
Like
I don't know.
the 6 out of 10, whether movies, shows, or comics, they just get forgotten.
Right, they're just bland and forgettable.
Yeah.
It's
the
like
Madame
you
Web's
forget a
out
movie.
there.
Madame Web, yeah. Oh my god, that was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, is that leading to sales though? I don't know. So,
Not for me.
while we're talking about it, I've got a video that I want to show you guys. Let me share. Tab.
A suggestion I had, just another thing, is that it seems like he has a full warehouse staff year round, and I wouldn't do that. I would hire temps to bag and board comics for like 2 weeks, on a release, and then just have a couple people in the warehouse full time, for trickling orders and things like that. Probably save a lot of money.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, we could come up with probably 16 better ways to run a business at that scale. I mean, to be honest, like it's
Yeah.
not that's really that's the easy part. I mean, it's a pain in the ass, don't get me wrong. It's tedious, but it's not difficult to, you know, hire some people at a warehouse, get books printed and shipped to the warehouse, and then ship those books out to people. I mean, I could train literally any human on Earth to put a
Shit,
Gemini book in a Gemini mailer.
I
You
think
know?
your boy Zach with his first comic just did it from his bedroom. You know.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, a lot of guys. I mean, we don't have a warehouse. I do it from the storage unit / my house. That's where we ship. If people out there are wondering, where do you get the fine books from Shattermare Comics? Now you know. So,
Oh, what video were you going to show?
oh yeah. I'm trying to share it where I just share the. Here we go. Boom. Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Absolutely,
All right,
yes.
sweet. Let's take a look at this. So this is by a guy named Comic Newbie, or I'm sorry, our Master J. But this is a comic noob reviewing Ripaverse Isom concept art book, and he has issues with it. I assume, pun intended. All right, ready?
Welcome back. We're here with our Master J, and today we are providing some comments on Ripperverse concept art. That was one of the special limited edition items that was part of the initial campaign for ISOM 1. I have a ton of issues with this. I realized that the price point for this book was intended to make it a little bit more exclusive, right? It was supposed to be a collector's item. If I'm going to pay $75 for a book, I would expect it.
All right, stop right here. This guy said he paid $75 for this book.
Unbelievable.
So, for the folks at home, hold on, let me see. Did he say how many pages this is yet?
To be more.
Hey, be careful.
think
Don't
he was
expose the
getting
business, okay?
3, 4, 5, 6.
Well, this is public knowledge, Kyle. I mean, Eric values transparency, so he's already told people, what his costs are and how much it costs for him to print a book. I mean, you're talking about an ISOM book too, much less. Hold on, let me.
7.
So we're on 8.
8.
An 8-page floppy. Is that Saddle Stitch book? Yes, it is. It's stapled.
$9.40 per page for this concept art
wild.
book, which again is of decent quality, but not nearly the same quality as the actual comic itself, and is pretty much just the exact art style for the characters. Only
Coffee brand coffee shirt.
Yaira has actually multiple stylistic items. Everybody else looks identical to how they look in the book. There's no development. I was expecting something that was maybe not going to be 90 pages, but was probably going to be 25.
Oh shit, I just realized this guy thought he was buying a $75 comic book.
Yeah, but here's something interesting. You know how in certain games they have like DLs or skins you can buy from the store and all this overpriced cosmetic shit? That's exactly what this is.
It's just paper DLC.
Yep, same fucking scam. It just clicked.
Yeah, well, hey, I mean, he got the Amway award, So you gotta encourage people to sell their own comic books. So
I can't hate on the guy. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I'm a pretty hardcore capitalist. I don't care about, people talk about, oh, it's price gouging and blah blah. I don't give a shit about that. I want to know how we can put our shitty character turnarounds that we pay artists to do just to do so they get color references down. I want to know how we can put that in an 8-page book and sell it for $75.
Yeah,
You
no, that's
just
not a
do
bad
it.
idea.
Like, and
We
look
could
people
even
with
drop
in the eye with a
price.
straight face.
We could drop the price and show a side by side. Now, see, he sells his for
Right, we
$10
can undercut,
more.
we can undercut it by $10, and we can still make like $60. Oh
Yeah.
my god! So I just want to make a point of like, value is subjective. Obviously, people if you make it and people buy it, you can say it's worth whatever. But holy shit, at some point there's a line where you tell yourself, even if you're like the biggest fan of something, do you ever ask yourself like, man, should I really spend $75 on like an 8-page concept art book? Should I do this? Should I even? Maybe I should like. I don't know. Maybe I should look at reviews before I do that.
That
I
was
mean,
the
if you're a
first.
real fan,
So when I got started in
Yeah,
this, I was actually
fanatic.
a supporter, a very big time. And I on day one I ordered ISON, and I looked at, and I wanted to get some other stuff, and I was looking at the prices, and I came across those cards, 11 for $100, and I was like, yeah, I don't think so. Like that's when it just clicked for me. Like, yeah, I'm not that big a fan, and then it kind of was downhill after that.
Yeah.
that just means it'll be that much more valuable for the people that do buy them. Just hold on
Well,
to those
Well, he
babies
probably
for a couple
printed
decades.
50,000 a piece. Though.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Well, also assuming, Kyle, that the cards don't go on sale for like 50-60% off the following week.
Oh man.
Yeah. So that's the thing where it goes from, man, I would love to sell a 8-page concept art book that we did for $75 to, what a fucking retard. Like, how do you undercut your own sale? Well, I mean, William said it. If you print like 50,000 of them, you got to move it. But you're not thinking of the value to your customer. You're completely destroying the value of your own product.
Exactly.
He's probably
The more
just
you
like,
print,
yeah, I sold it to all the people that are willing to buy it at this price. Now I'm going to sell it to people that are willing to buy it for cheaper.
Right. Thus making everyone who bought it turn around and be like, wow, I'm a
I'm
fucking
never
sucker.
doing this again.
Yeah, I'm never
exactly.
doing this again.
I waited till his sale, and I bought one of his shirts. In fact, he has the shirts, some of the ISOM shirts on sale right now for $8. These are normally what, $30, $25,
Yeah, like
$30 shirts.
Yeah, average shirt sells for like $25-$30.
Yeah, you can get it for $8, and that's
There
when
you
I
go.
bought it because I just wanted a shirt to wear after work, So $8 for a shirt plus shipping, it was like $13 total for a t-shirt, which I don't think you can even get a decent t-shirt at Target or anything for that much.
No, for sure. I mean, it's not unless you're getting like the cheapest quality. I mean, that he probably pays like $5 for them, so he's just trying to liquidate them.
Yeah.
Especially if it's the old logo before he had to change it.
Yeah, it is.
But well, there you go. He has to get rid of those so he doesn't get sued again.
Oh, was there a lawsuit issue with his old logo?
Yeah, he didn't Google search the name of his company or his when he tried to trademark it. I'm sorry, not the company. Let me the character ISOM, yeah. And so apparently there's this church called the International School of Ministry. And they have ISOM. That's the shorthand. It's trademark. And no research was done. So he started putting all of this. I mean, you can see right here. He started putting this on everything, promoting it, and he's also promoting the character as like a Christian superhero. So, naturally they're gonna, there's overlap in perception of brands there. It's not like
brand confusion possibility.
Yeah, it's 100% brand possibility. I mean, Christian character. You could see this and go, "Oh, is Iceland coming out with a comic book?" So,
Yeah.
anyways, so catching up to now, yeah, you're setting signals to your audience, your customers. Like you should never, especially as a direct. I'll give people some advice. Here you go. So, from one business owner to another, you should never undercut or undervalue your own product. So, like, what do I mean by that? Okay, so if I sell something, I pretty much always keeping it as an MSRP. Maybe you do a little bit of a discount, a little bit. Like when we go to shows.
Yeah, like a 10%, 15.
Yeah, like when we go to shows and someone's looking at the books, it's a bundle of issues that we have, like all the Hardly Heroes issues. And again, this is how you build in value. Hey, you're here right now. Instead of ordering on our website, I'll give you a 10% discount for getting these here, right? So that's an incentive. It'd be totally weird if I was like, hey, I'll sell you this book for $6.
Or for 50 cents. Because
well, no, it's worse than that.
Undercuts the hell out of his merchandise.
Yeah, it's worse than that. It's like, hey, I've got this book, $5.99, but if you get on my website, it's $2. like where are you gonna get the book? You're gonna get it for the $2. It's just common sense. And so then if I and then take that a step further, right? I'm selling this book, and then I go around advertising, hey, get it for this price now, after I just sold the first round or wave of the books for, whatever, and there's no justification. Yeah, that leaves a pretty bad taste in people's mouth.
Yeah, I'd be pissed if I bought a T-shirt for $25 and then less than 6 months later it's going for $8.
Yeah, with no rhyme or reason. Like no, hey, we're doing a massive sale, get it for like a week or whatever. Or you're just sending a bad signal to your customer base. And yeah, I mean, if you value something, you want it to increase in price naturally, right? Like on the secondary market, or even if it's from you. I mean, that's why MSRP as a term, it's about the consistency of the price of a product, so that people know what to expect to pay for that product. It's not, I mean, it's a little more than suggested retail price,
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just like, oh, sell it for what you want. And even the people who do that will say, hey, pay for what you want for this. There's an expectation to the product. So anyways, let's see what else is in store for us here in this book that we don't have to pay for. We're going to live vicariously through you, our Master Jay.
40 pages-ish of black and whites, stenciling, how the character went from kind of phase 1 to phase 4 of what you're seeing in the comic book now. I also thought...
Oh, that's a good idea for Luke.
Yeah.
Remember that, William?
Yeah.
I could tell Luke that.
Comics have been doing that for a while. Like, you don't pay $75 for it either.
Right. Maybe we could do like an add-on on the campaign. That's an art book.
Concept art.
Yeah. Or like a version of that. We did a version of that for the volume. It was like 4 pages, but it was like really early concept art,
Yeah.
And it was also, I included those pages in the book that they got when they ordered like the leather bound slipcover, or like the what was it? The wooden cover. Anyways.
Well, in like Chuck Dixon's book, or not Chuck Dixon, Graham Nolan, he'll have that at the end pages. He'll have quite a bit of just how things came to be, and it's free. It's tossed in.
Yeah, exactly. Because people love to see that. If they're already buying a product they enjoy, then they like to see, oh, this is cool. This is how it's made. I feel like I'm a part of the process for this now.
But you don't make people pay for that shit. It's like you can toss in a few pages at the end of it. Just give it for free, because I don't know. I'm not a businessman.
Yeah, I think it goes into the again. This is subjective. You know, everyone's gonna draw their line of like, holy shit, this is not worth it. This is bullshit. Or go there.
Yeah.
You cross a line into this is unjustifiable to this is a scam, and the
Well,
reason why people are saying he's scamming people is because it kind of becomes, well, are you just taking advantage of people at this point? Like you
Yeah, you have a loyal like following, and you know they're going to support you, so you're trying to squeeze as much as you can get. And like I said, I like that concept art, but if you toss it in, you know, to a comic, but if you're going
Right.
to say, yeah, you got to pay extra, no thanks. Just
Right.
I'm not that interested. You know?
Yeah, exactly. We're not that interested. It's also the difference between the appreciation for the fan, the customer, versus the like. I mean, I'm not a mind reader, so I'm not going to say this is just speculation, right? We're just having fun detracting, but it's almost like it's almost like the entitlement of the producer, like, oh man, you're gonna love this 8-page concept art book of frankly not interesting concept art like this guy is saying it
Yeah.
isn't. You're gonna love this so much that you're gonna give me $75 for this because, you know, like you worship me. Whereas if we're throwing into a book, it's like, hey, we want to show you guys the work and effort and like the cool stuff we did and the fun we had putting this together.
Yeah.
The process of making this thing.
Yeah, it's for the fans.
It's for the
It's
fans,
for
yeah.
you. And that's the disconnect here.
And it's like, thanks for pre-ordering this, you know, like thanks for doing XYZ. Because you did this, I appreciate you, so I'm giving you this back.
Yeah,
It's a give and take. So
and like, even with the stretch goals, it's like you get a van. You know, I'll buy a van if it's like that's not a stretch goal. You know what I got in my first Iceland comic? Nothing free, not even a trading card or a poker chip, or in almost every. In fact, every campaign I support through Indiegogo, I always get a free something, a bookmark, something like that.
yeah, that's the point of, that's the incentive of, hey, come to me instead of like, you know, going to Amazon to buy my book or something. Like, here's an incentive for you to come directly to me on this platform I'm on.
That's what a stretch goal is. It isn't, okay, I'll buy a van.
Right. Like, hey, if you give me more money, I'll do this for myself. It's it's very conceited.
I'll move into a better place.
yeah. Don't you want to see me? Don't you want to see me buy this $2 million mansion, guys?
It's like, can I come by? No.
Yeah. Can I borrow the van for when we go to our next show?
Can you drive me to my eye appointment?
Yeah.
So one of his stretch goals is really like, I'm going to buy a van for myself.
Yeah, well, his latest stretch goals are like...
That was the $1 million stretch goal, is getting a van.
Yeah, I mean,
like, it's not you getting a van; it's him getting a van.
No, him.
Yeah, it's like a GoFundMe project where you're just like, this guy's just e-begging for money. You know, like there's no value added to you. I heard his newest stretch goals for like Yaira or whatever, or maybe he started this on AlphaCore, were literally like DLC add-ons where you pay for the privilege. Like, hey, this book reached $100,000, for example. Now that it's reached $100,000, you have the opportunity to now buy this thing.
Jeez.
You know?
God bless, man.
Yeah,
he doesn't get it. That's not
genius.
a stretch goal.
Genius, this guy. he's really upsetting the industry, you know?
And there are people out there that are going to think
he's
this is
upsetting
how
somebody.
you do it.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
he has been. You know what industry he's upsetting is the industry of YouTubers that like making videos, because man, he's putting a lot of content out there for people.
Yeah, exactly. He's maybe we'll just become an ISOM channel. I'm just kidding.
I mean,
right
now we are streaming someone else talking about it.
Yeah. Well, let's finish this. It's only 6 minutes.
He is feeding the masses.
And then we can talk about D&D
It all,
movie or
it all
something.
trickles down. See,
Yeah, exactly. He's a job creator, Kyle. He's a
all
genius.
those warehouse
Look,
workers.
that's right. Look, he'll either go. His whole thing will either go up in flames like a giant dumpster fire, and it'll be hilarious, or he'll just become more and more successful.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll see. We'll see.
That we are not introduced yet within ISOM 1. So I'm going to be entirely honest.
Oh, either way, we win. By the way, that was one of what I just
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
I feel completely ripped off by what this is.
No shit.
And I do not know if what this is, outside of the Ripperverse becoming the biggest thing ever, I don't know if this concept art book will ever equate to being worth $75 again. Now, there are
What you
limited
see.
vision.
Damn. Have you ever seen buyer's remorse in real time? Well, this is a recorded video, so it's not live, but
Yeah.
in real time, someone goes
You
through.
see, you paid $75 for it, so it
I
already
genuinely
is worth
feel I don't think I
$75.
could live with myself doing shit like this.
Oh man, are you gonna piss score yourself, William? Are you gonna Ed?
No,
Too soon.
I just
Too
I
soon.
guess I'm just too moral or honest. Like
Nah, fair. Well, see, that's the thing. I don't know if I would call it moral. Like it's the guy set a price point. People are willing to pay the price point. It is what it is.
yeah,
Uh,
you're right there, but I think he could have sold a hell of a lot more if it was $15.
I mean, that's a good argument, right? Like, lower the price, you'll
Yeah, but you
increase
could have sold more,
demand.
but would you have made more money?
Uh,
It's better to sell, less 75 ones than maybe twice as many $15 ones.
But
yeah, I
his
don't know.
Reputation. I can't imagine anybody happy with what they got.
We'll see. That goes back to the thing we were talking about earlier, right? Like, he's never going to actually compete against mainstream people because no one sells something similar for this price. I mean, you're not going to find an 8-page comic book like an Ashcan, like a legit comic, because that's what this was. It was printed on. I mean, that it's not like it's shitty newsprint paper or anything. It's not that cheap paper, but like this looks similar to what we print, an individual Hardly Heroes issue on. But like, you're not. No one would pay for the. You know what this would be? You know what this would be? A free comic book day thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is coming up soon, by the way. So Eric, if you're watching this channel, or you have someone go through and watch channels of people that talk about you, there you go. I just gave you a great idea. Give these away for free on free
Then they'll
comic
be
book
really
day.
pissed off.
Yeah, but do it for like your members, like the people who buy your like $100 membership or whatever, like a month,
Gee,
whatever.
the Ultra Mac.
Yeah, give it to them for free comic book day. There you go. Boom. I just gave you a great business idea. You're welcome.
And they're never supposed to be printed again, so there will be something to this. But for $75, I feel cheated. I really thought it was going to be something more than 8 pages of pretty much here's the initial doodles of the characters, and they look identical to the characters that were actually released within the book. The fact that there's not even a free, like, I was just looking for multiple drafts. The write-ups are fine, but it's also just, yeah.
Oh my god.
It's just Times New Roman font. There's nothing special. It's not written font.
Shouldn't it have said, like, hey, this art book you're buying is X amount of pages?
Yeah. So we won't even get into this, but I've heard someone do a read through of this synopsis.
Yeah.
Oh, Kyle, you're William. Actually, this is great because both of you are writers.
Yeah.
I don't even. Maybe we'll read it. We'll read it another time, Kyle. I'll pull it up for you. Another.
On our next episode.
Next episode. No, well, maybe not on the episode, but I'll just show you sometime. I just want you to, as a writer, I want you to, just.
There's nothing special. It's not written font.
Maybe you'll find something, Since Eric's a
This
genius.
book could
Inspiration.
not
Inspire
have
you.
been that expensive to produce. It is, I mean, the paper's still decent paper, but it is just
Yeah,
a
it is.
staple
It is
bound,
nicer glossy paper. Yeah, it's
basic
a floppy.
staple bound, 8-page, folded over.
Yep.
Enjoy quality.
He's still defeated. Like, oh, I just got to cut. Actually, our Master J, I hate to be that guy, but that's not even 8 real pages of paper because it's folded over, printed on 11 by 17 probably. So
Well,
that's like
Let's not
2.
get technical here.
Fine. I just wanted to pile on. Look at this
Yeah.
poor guy. I just wanted to pile on. Oh man.
Can't
The
resist taking
comic,
some.
I don't have a really
Yep.
an issue with the price point on the comic. I know that's been a topic of discussion, but I think the comic is of the highest of quality. So you are paying for a quality product, independent of artwork or anything else. You are paying for the binding, for the paper, for the finish, right? You're not paying for anything that's cheap. So I don't necessarily have an issue with that. Obviously, independent first time running through through a process, you're going to pay a little bit more. Hopefully, as contracts and things of that nature come along, costs will be able to come down to get the books more in the $20 to $25 per issue instead of $35. But $75 for this,
Wait, does this guy think that this cost Eric like $35?
No, I think he was just saying he has no problem with the price of ISOM
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
in comparison.
Okay, because this book probably cost Eric like no shit. I mean, just basing it off of what it costs us to print like a similar staple bound 32? We'll say 30, 36 because of the cover. 34. Probably since he can order bulk, probably costs him like 50 cents to $1.
Yeah.
At worst case scenario, it was like $2.50.
Yeah, I was thinking around 250, but again, I don't know.
No, it's probably less. I would be almost willing to bet you money this didn't even cost $1. Assuming he printed like, I don't know, at least like 5,000 to 10,000 of these. This probably cost him like not even $1, or maybe $1.50. So he's making like
He's counting those bills.
yeah, he's making like we'll say conservatively, he's making at least $70 a book off of this, just off the top gross, But hey, that warehouse is expensive,
Yeah.
and he's gotta keep paying to go on editing trips with the Soska sisters.
I know it needed to be priced to make it a little exclusive,
To Canada.
but for $75, I would have expected a lot more. So I'm extremely disappointed in the
Oh, I'm sorry, 65. So he's making at least $60.
concept art book. Hopefully one day this will be worth $3,000 because there are only 2,000 of them, and the Ripperverse will be the most amazing comic book company.
Oh, there you go. So he printed at least 2,000 of these.
Yeah.
Which he probably printed more realistically because, every time you print something, unless it's numbered, like I'll people out there listening, I'll tell you a secret. Unless it's like serialized, where it's numbered like 1 of, 2 of, 3 of, 2,000 or whatever, 1 of 500, you can print like 2,500, 3,000 just in case you need to have extra, plus like if I was going to do a print run of like, say, I don't know, 50, you got to print a couple extra for print samples. I may just print more just so like we all get to keep one. Like something we're never intending to sell. But it's just like, hey, here's one for your friends and family. You know what I mean? Just to give people. Anyway, so he could have printed, but he printed at least 2,000 of these. So.
Company the world has ever seen. But I will tell you right now, hopefully it's the investment that it potentially can be. But I will say I'm very disappointed in what this was for the cost, for the price point that it was. So that's my 2 cents on that. I know I might take some heat for that one in the comment section, but I wanted to express how I felt. Make sure that it is what it is.
Oh yeah.
Again, I'm not necessarily
Oh yeah. Someone says in the comments, there's not even artwork on the covers of this book.
Yeah, I know, huh? Playing it close to the chest.
not necessarily disappointed that I bought it, but definitely disappointed in
Bro,
what
you
was
should be.
delivered to me. So
You should be getting a
with that
refund
said,
for that.
please like and subscribe. And leave a
He
comment.
didn't even sign them. He doesn't even have the artist sign them. Wow.
He
what you
does
think of
regret.
let me know what you think of the concept art book. Are you happy with it? Do you think it was worth the bang for the buck? Do you think it's worth the investment that
Yeah,
Here.
you need to scroll through those
Where's his
comments.
I'll add a comment. Oh, you want to go through the comment real quick? Okay.
Well, we need to know if people think it's worth it. Then
Yeah, well, I was gonna
we
say,
can admit that we're wrong and
I'm-
start selling them.
happy that you bought one, so I didn't have to. Also, I feel bad for you. If
Okay, let's.
you're interested, I will send you a free copy of my 32-page comic, Hardly Heroes.
There we go.
To make up for your suffering. Hope that helps. Hit us up first. DM us on X or Instagram.
And don't get mad that we used your content to make our content.
Oh, also, yeah. So, but we're not monetized, so it's okay.
I hope you like the comic book we just sent you.
being that it is a limited edition item.
If you'd like to make a video about that comic book when you receive it,
yeah,
then we can make a video about you making that video, and we all have to do less work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's all what you expect. Buyer's remorse, spending 20. Oh man, that's good. All right, so that's enough of that.
Yeah.
Well,
Get into the D&D movie.
yeah, let's talk about the D&D movie, the most recent D&D movie.
Yeah,
From what, 2022? When did the movie come out?
I thought
2023?
it came out last year. Yeah, I think so.
You're probably right.
Early, so maybe like a year and some change.
It was
I wanna say
probably
it came out,
it's
like,
about a year
February.
old right now, I think.
They had the whole
Nice.
controversy about the I'm blanking what it's called. The Wizards of the Coast D&D. You remember that whole thing? That was in like January, and then the movie was coming out in like February, I think.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why I'm blanking what it's called.
What controversy?
The free use D&D
OGL.
kinda. OGL, that's what it's called. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think the movie came out before that, or it was
No, the movie
right.
came out like right after.
Yeah.
That was
Did it?
That was because people were like, "Oh shit, this is gonna affect the sales of the movie."
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I don't think it affected that much. I mean, I don't think that.
Well, they apologized for it like right before the movie came out.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, yeah, that's right. They started rolling stuff back.
Because people were
They had
going to
to update.
boycott the movie.
They were, yeah. But I guess the question is, because general moviegoers, they have no idea. They don't know or give a shit
Yeah.
about
As
what's
is
going
normally
on.
the case with these kind of things.
Yeah. So
Like it's just us terminally online people that
yeah, I wonder how that would have actually affected it. I mean, they got a lot of backlash from like D&D Beyond subscriptions and stuff, so I don't know.
Well, the movie didn't do great at the box office, so I don't know. But
Yeah, it's kind
I
of
think
like
it was a good movie.
I think
it's kind of like World of Warcraft movie. You know,
yeah,
you gotta like at least D&D something to enjoy it.
no, it
I don't
it
know if
had
you
a.
have to like D&D. I mean, you have
think
to
it
like
did.
fantasy, but
I think it
Like, you
did
think it
more
was
right than it did wrong. So
like you think it was more. You think it was. I don't know how to ask this question. You think it was a less lore intensive than the World of Warcraft movie?
maybe by a smidge, yeah.
I
But
cannot say that I
I thought it
watched
was cool they went to the Underdark, and so
Yeah,
someone knew
that
about
stuff was
that.
cool.
And some of the monsters in it, like gelatinous cubes and displacer
It looked
beasts.
great.
You know, I'm like, wow, somebody knew D&D. Somebody, knew what they were talking
Like they had
about.
some kind of consultant on there or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, also, isn't Michelle Rodriguez a part of some D&D group with
Vin Diesel and
Vin Diesel and stuff?
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I saw an interview with him back in the day, and he was talking about his character as like a drow something. And maybe it was for Guardians of the Galaxy they were doing an interview. I don't know. I think we just lost Kyle. He had to hop off for the night, but
Okay.
we can keep going.
Yeah. So it
anyways,
did
go
have
ahead.
some. It did have some kind of cringe girl boss stuff going on and beta male type things going on.
Well, what was the most egregious of those two categories? Like, what were the most
Well,
egregious characters that fall into that?
like okay, so you had that female barbarian. Okay, that's
Mhm.
cool, Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah, her
Then
character.
she went to her boyfriend's place or ex-boyfriend's place, and he's this,
Oh yeah,
whiny little shit. And who's he's married to? Another, big, strong, woman type thing. And it's like, okay, maybe I'm reading too much into that, but it's just also the fact that like Chris Pine, when I think of a
or
bard,
Bradley Cooper. Yeah,
I'd like to see a, him sword fight. Kind of a
yeah,
type of thing. They never showed that. When I think of a
more
bard, I think of
swashbuckling.
like a swashbuckler, exactly. And there was he didn't do any of that. And I'm like, why? He's your lead. He should be the kicking ass too. Not just coming up with plans. But overall, I still enjoyed the movie, and I really like the Paladin character. I think you could do a movie around him.
That would be cool. Yeah, some of his earlier adventures. Well, but
Yeah.
so let me give you some pushback a little bit on that character though, or Chris Pine. Well, I guess I'll start with Chris Pine's character. So you had let me back up. If you're going to adhere to a D&D-esque movie, obviously you have to have your adventuring party, and everyone's going to have their roles or archetypes. So I think the fact that Chris Pine didn't steal the show, because he easily could have been the center of that movie.
Well, I think he did kind of carry the film.
He's
he's
definitely the best actor. Yeah. But I think if you had him doing all the scenes, I think having the separate characters, the Paladin, that guy, I don't think that necessarily took away from Chris Pine's character. Because that's what Chris Pine would have been doing, right? Like that's what kind of what we're talking about. You would have given him that. You would have combined those two characters.
Yeah, something like that.
So I could see you doing either. I mean, it didn't really detract from the movie for me. I think it was fine either way because I think the Paladin, there was some interesting, funny gags with the Paladin. So, as far as Bradley Cooper's cameo, or I guess he's a gnome or a halfling. Is he a halfling? I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. I just kind of assumed
small man.
Yeah. I think he was a halfling race. Someone in the comment below and correct me if I'm wrong. But I kind of saw that as they probably didn't intend it this way, but you know how you see you see like pretty fat women with like skinny guys. Like they don't have any muscle. They're just kind of like dopey skinny guys.
Yeah.
That's kind of what that reminded me of. Like, bigger women tend to be attracted to guys that I don't know, if it's like a chicken and the egg situation of relationships, like who found who,
Yeah.
like is like, is that, are they there, are they on the same playing field as far as like who they could get in the dating market? Is it like
Yeah.
those women like those guys because they feel more powerful? I don't know.
Could be a combination of both.
Yeah, like, I'm 6'4" and my wife's like barely 5 feet. She's tiny, so we don't have that dynamic at all. But I literally don't know what that would be like. But that's kind of what I looked at that character as, because it was clearly supposed to be a joke of like, oh, look at this butch, like,
Yeah.
clearly not very, like, I wouldn't really think Michelle Rodriguez's character is heterosexual in that movie. I kind of assumed they would just.
I mean, it was kind of like when combat or stuff like that happened. It seems like the women in the party were more effective, and the men, weren't. You know what I mean? Like that wizard was kind of, hit or miss.
Oh, the sorcerer guy.
Yeah, and again, Chris Pine never. I don't even think he had a weapon on him.
Right, but
and
for Chris Pine, that's the thing. He was the planner. I mean, they even have the joke about, well, what happens if your plan fails? Like, and they just kind of leave it, like, oh, well, then we wing it or come up with a new plan or whatever. So, I don't. That's the thing. I wasn't disappointed that Chris Pine wasn't more involved in combat roles. I agree with you partly about the sorcerer, like the timid sorcerer guy that wants to date the druid chick.
Yeah.
However, he does have an actual arc in the movie, whereas most modern depictions, he would have been like the dopey sidekick guy.
Yeah.
And it would have been like you could honestly have a rom-com of just him, the paladin, and the druid girl. That would be like a Netflix. Please God, someone in Hollywood, do not steal that idea from me. Like, that would be awful. But I could imagine them having a Netflix special, where it's like that. Whatever your guys are thinking in the audience, if you haven't seen this movie, that's that guy. But in the end, he actually does, because his powers are tied to his lack of self-esteem or self-confidence, whatever you want to say. And he actually is a very powerful sorcerer. Because they do the bloodline magic in the movie, like in D&D. In D&D, sorcerers get their powers from your bloodline.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. So that's a cool aspect to it.
No, he definitely
but
redeemed
he does
himself.
Yeah.
So, and I like stories like that. So overall, I mean, I like the film. I'll watch it again.
Yeah. So
I think it did more right than wrong.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I think at least they gave him an arc, and he does redeem himself, which makes it an actual character arc, and it's good to. Now, if they came out with a sequel, and he was the same dopey dumbass guy who could barely like cast first level spells, then I would be like, really, like,
you just went back.
You're just regressing. Like, what fuck happened to the whole character arc this guy went through in the last one? Then I would be disappointed. But overall I was okay with that. Because again, at least he was a real character. He wasn't just like, oh, this guy's gonna be the butt of the joke, and then women are gonna constantly come in and save him.
Yeah.
So, and then as far as the female characters, I mean, it's a fantasy world and magic exists. So I'm not really, like, in this example, I'm not super worried about, the druid can literally shapeshift into like a huge beast.
Right.
So it's fine. You know, my bar is. I'll just say my bar is very low for modern entertainment.
Yeah, I
In
mean,
that
again,
regard.
I think it was made by people who knew D&D, and it showed. And I think if you're
Yeah,
somebody who doesn't like Dungeons and Dragons, this movie probably wouldn't be for you. But
that's true. I would probably. It, yeah, if you're not into D&D, this is just going to be like a generic fantasy movie, and you'll probably just forget about it. You know.
yeah, like when they were going into the Underdark, I was really excited. I'm like, all right, but imagine if you don't play D&D or you think it like, are you gonna get? You're not gonna get excited over that, you know?
Well, yeah, you wouldn't even notice it. It would just be a set change, right? And because the scene change, they're going to the Underdark. They do talk about it a little bit, but there's no big lore dump. You know, there isn't a big exposition. They just kind of mention like, oh yeah, the Underdark's very dangerous. We got to be careful here.
Yeah,
Which I like. Like even if I wasn't a D&D fan and I'm watching a movie, that's fine. That's all you have to say. Like that one line. You don't need to go into a bunch of detail. But yeah, it's just a set piece. If you're not into Dungeons and Dragons, you wouldn't even know really what the Underdark is and that they're there. You're just like, okay, they had to go into some big cave.
yeah,
You know, it's like in The Hobbit when they had to go into the deal with the goblins or whatever.
yeah. And I
So,
thought they got the villain. I like the villain, so they got
yeah,
that right.
it was cool. It was a good actor. I don't think any of the acting was particularly bad because a
No,
lot of these movies, you know, they phone it in, or some of the people will just be themselves, like they're not really playing a character.
yeah,
Um,
no. I actually look. I
so
liked it a lot more than I thought I would. To be honest, with you.
well, good.
Seriously, I
That's
liked
what I
it a lot.
thought.
This is a movie I'd rewatch. So, you know, again, overall, yeah, I'll give it probably a 7.5. You know, I mean, it didn't blow me away, but it was definitely a good representation of Dungeons and Dragons. A lot better than they've done in the past. So,
Oh yeah, way better.
yeah,
And I think it's a good launching off point. Like we were talking about this offline the other day. I think if they did another one, they should actually, jumping on your idea, they should do one with a different party, but center it around the paladin.
yeah.
I think that would be a good sequel because I don't need to see this party. I mean, it was cool. It's this group, but again, D&D is about different adventuring parties. Same world, obviously. You could have cameos or like references to, you know, what happened over there with those guys. But yeah, I would have it like,
But you know how cool it would be to have a movie where paladins using their powers, you know, the healing abilities and the turning, you know, all that stuff that paladins can do. I don't think I've ever
yeah,
seen a movie that depicted anything like that.
yeah. No, I don't think I have either. And I mean, God, like how many you especially? I can't even think of something in the last like 2 decades because most modern, you know, postmodern, whatever you want to call them, movies, they're constantly trying to make a joke or shit on like a typically masculine, good moral hero.
Yeah, virtuous.
So yeah, so it's always like he's the secret villain, he's really evil, you know, or he is just a joke.
Yeah.
You're not going to see that in modern Hollywood. So unfortunately, I don't think they can do that.
Well, I think they
So
kind of did with Captain America, because Captain America really is kind of a paladin of sorts.
oh yeah, but
You
look
know,
at the
very,
MCU now though.
yeah, yeah. I don't
So
think yeah.
I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it couldn't be done. Obviously, you could. It would be a fun. It would be a fun movie to see. You know, and it would be fun to see the characters level up throughout the movie. So part of the progression is the progression of the game characteristics. So,
Yeah.
because I didn't really get that from. I didn't really get that from the first D&D movie. If I had to come up with another flaw of this movie, I'd say the characters' flaws, like all of the characters were pretty freaking powerful, especially the magic users, but they were nerfed because of their lack of self-confidence. It's like, oh, the druid is really powerful, but she has to control her powers, otherwise she'll, whatever. And
she's
like,
also a
oh,
tiefling. Who makes a tiefling druid? Come on, it's gotta,
yeah, exactly.
if you're gonna have a tiefling, it's got to be a warlock. Come on.
Tiefling warlock, yeah. Tiefling rogue. What else? Tiefling sorcerer.
Yeah, min max the characters.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. I would have liked to see. Yeah. Oh well, then Chris Pine's character would have been a half elf.
Yeah,
for sure. Half elf bard. Yeah, tiefling sorcerer. Druid. Oh man, she would have been like
with a wood elf, or
you could do with another elf. I'd probably go with like, and this is partly just for the marketing, I probably would have made her like a tabaxi. I think tabaxis get dex and wisdom.
oh,
The cat folk race.
Yeah.
It's either charisma or dex, but I think you can get dex and, I mean, whatever. After Tasha's, you could do whatever the fuck you want with stats. But yeah, I would make her something like that, or like the goat, the like like the goat.
Oh, satyr.
The satyrs, yeah. Something fun like that, yeah. Something different. But yeah, like a tabaxi would have been interesting. I mean, as long as you don't make her look like the Cats movie. Cats, holy god. But
CGI.
yeah. I mean, for what they did, like they'd use mild facial prosthetics.
Tiefling is a very popular race in.
For sure. Yeah, Tiefling Druid, that's a little different. You don't really see that often.
I mean, that was just a joke I made during the show. Like, who the fuck makes a druid? Whatever. The charisma bonus doesn't help you that much. I mean, what do you...
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, the base stats don't matter anymore because they made so many variants that you can play a Tiefling that gets wisdom, a bonus to wisdom.
Oh yeah. I heard they changed the Cauldron of Woke.
Oh yeah, I don't know. See, that's the thing with D&D. I'm very disconnected with. I mean, I see it. I mean, last episode we made fun of the wheelchair. Come on, but I'm generally speaking, I'm pretty disconnected with a lot of the dumb shit that Wizards implements. Specifically the ideological stuff, because all of the books, they're just references or source material. Yeah. So I can go to D&D Beyond and find the new sweet feat that I want to use to break the game or have fun or do whatever. So it's not the same as other stuff for me. It's just not. Like I don't really care if it's a book and it has new mechanics in it. Great, if it has a new race, cool. But if they have some weird campaign setting where like they create their fucking knockoff Harry Potter, their Hogwarts school or some bullshit like that, I won't know because I don't like my DM. All of our stuff is homebrew. He only uses books as source material to pick and grab stuff that he thinks will be interesting mechanics for like some quest that we're on or something. So
yeah, and I have the the book before. There's nothing cringe in any of the books I own. I probably don't own as many as you. I just have the basic 3, and then I think I got that Zen Guide to Everything or whatever.
Oh, Xanathars?
Yeah, I got that, and then I have
that's a good
Curse of Strahd.
Right, Curse of Strahd.
Ravenloft. So, I don't have all the expansions that you have. Like, I don't think Tabaxi is in any of my books. So.
When did they introduce that one? I don't remember. It's been a while. 5th edition's been out for a while now. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we just do like a digital subscription and then we split it as a group, and so we just update it every so many books that they come out with. So to me, I just go to the D&D Beyond webpage, and then like if I'm logged in, I just look up something and it's there. And I guess I'll give you the source book, because sometimes I look stuff up. I don't want to use random third party stuff. I want to use pure D&D like Wizards of the Coast. But
yeah,
we'll see how that works going forward.
But see, like with my books, they can't change those. I own them, so if they want, because I think they changed Curse of Strahd. They changed the gypsies into something else because you can't say gypsy and a few other things. But I have the version that doesn't have any of that in it.
Right, but then also you don't have erratas if they come out with like rule erratas, so that it fixes stuff that's broken or needs to be updated. What's the problem with physical books?
Yeah,
but I mean, I take that back, because they'll always publish like what is it, like a it's not like a full book, it's just a list of rules that are updates.
Yeah,
so you could just literally download or print like that PDF and you'd be fine. But yeah, they've come out with a lot of stuff. I'm still waiting for them to fully release. So they started making what they were. This is another Wizards fuck up, like within the last year or two, and they've backpedaled on a bunch of stuff. But they were going to release a 6th edition, or they had a quote unquote 6th edition in the works, right? And so then they were like, "Oh no, it's really just like," they didn't want another 4th edition disaster, like a catastrophe like that. So they're like, "Oh no, it's really like a 5.5, you see, and it's just going to be called D&D 1, but it's really going to be like 5.5. Like you can still use it with 5th edition rules, and you can just use this." So I'm like, okay, so you're recreating 3.0 and 3.5? Is that what's happening here?
Yeah. But they made a ton of money off of that, though. I mean,
just doing a patch, reprinting effectively a patch into your game.
And people bought it. They sold the 3.5 books probably outsold any of their other editions. Maybe
for
maybe
sure,
not
I believe
this
that.
one. Yeah, but because there were so many splat books that people were picking up, and some of them were really good.
Right. Yeah, I believe that for sure. If you showed me some kind of chart in sales, because also that was around the time. I think that happened to be the next generation of gamers. I don't know how to articulate that, but I think you had a bunch of millennials, because when I started playing D&D, I was 15 technically. No, I was like 13. Yeah, I was just a wee little lad, pre-teenager. So I was coming up when they had like 3.5.
Yeah.
3.0, 3.5 transition.
And that was hugely popular. Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and that was like the golden age of the internet, where the internet wasn't prolific and everywhere. So you still went to game shops,
Yeah.
And you still like hung out at people's houses. Back in my day,
also, you didn't have the instant rule changes on the. They didn't have a website really that would give you that. So you went to your books. You needed your books, and now not so much.
Right, that's true. Real quick, man, for people joining us, throw some comments in the chat. I see you guys on X there. I want to see if the X chat comes through to our StreamYard, but I also want to say hi if you're a new viewer.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. So what are we talking about? Oh, just D&D in general.
The Wizards of the Coast.
We like to do Wizards of the Coast, yeah. So we'll see how the D&D 1 or the 5.5, whatever you want to call it, we'll see how it turns out. I mean, I followed early on some of the changes they're doing, because they had playtest editions, and then at some point I was just like, fuck it, I'll just see what it actually is when they release it.
The problem is they laid off so many good people recently.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they have the personnel to do something that's an improvement. I don't know. don't know if the talent's there. You know?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'd have to do more research to see what all people they laid off creative teams, because it could have just been like,
Mike Merles was one of them, and he created 3.0, 3.5, and he tried to fix 4.0.
Well, yeah, you said that, but he's been gone for a while now, right? I'm talking about the latest layoffs.
Oh, the latest?
Where they laid off like 1,000 people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that could have just been like a bunch of dipshits in the marketing department. You know what I mean? Like it could have basically not been of any value. They could have just been cutting the fat.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to see, really who got sacked this round. So, but again, it's kind of weird. I mean, they're making money. They're very profitable. Hasbro's getting a bunch of dividends off of Wizards, so it's kind of like, you should really be growing. You should be expanding. If you're doing so well, what are you doing? So, I don't know.
Well, I played an MMO called Guild Wars 2, and I played for years.
Oh, Guild Wars 2 is dope. Well, I heard. I played Guild Wars 1. I did not play 2.
Yeah, I played for 9.5 years, and they lay off a bunch of people a few years ago. Okay, they're trimming the fat, and then they put out an expansion, and it's the most cringe shit I've ever seen. I quit. I quit right there. I uninstalled, and I never went back. It was, oh God, I don't want to get into it, but so it could go either way. With this D&D thing, where it's going to be cringe as all get out, or it will be a true improvement, in which it probably might be worth it.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, but that's kind of the double-edged sword of making it a 0.5 if you're building it into the same core rule set as the previous edition, because if it's shitty, then we just won't use it. Like it's a perfectly good 5th edition laying around. We don't have to use it. So.
Because there's some feat, the whole feat thing. We talk about broken feats and inabilities, and that's because I learned they were just tacked on at the end. They weren't going to have feats in this edition. You would just level up ability scores.
That would have been dumb.
Yeah,
that would have been retarded.
They tacked the feats on, and some are really broken. Like Sentinel with Polearm Master or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's. Yeah, I mean, overall, you don't get that many, so it seems okay, because you still really need ASI stats at, generally speaking, 4 levels, each 4 levels.
Yeah, and I do that first.
Yeah, like you really want to get your whatever your primary stat is to 1820, because in 5th edition it makes much more of a difference, whereas in previous editions you're like constantly counting up modifiers. It would never matter. Like if it was 3.5, you would always take the feat basically. But these are good. And then as time went on, they came out with I don't know what you would call them, like half feats, where they're like, okay, instead of taking a +1 or +2 to 1 stat or a +1 to 2 stats, this feat gives you like a +1 strength plus a thing. Although it turns out that one of those is also one of the most powerful feats too, Elven Accuracy. Like that feat is ridiculous. Like on average, having advantage gives you a +5 to your roll. Oh, cool. You like advantage? We heard you like advantage, so we'll give you double advantage. Here you go. And also +1 to charisma, dex, wisdom, and I want to say there's a 4th one in there. I don't remember. I always either go charisma or dex, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, I could. But I would say there's way more busted feats in like 3.5 than there are 5th edition.
Yeah.
5th edition is pretty balanced. It's pretty good as far as that stuff goes. And there's it's funny because there's like a meme about they always printed busted broken stuff in unearthed arcana.
Unearthed Arcana.
Jeez, that's hard to say. But now they just made that they're like anything that's playtest, that's Unearth Arcana. So, but yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. Is there any other stuff you want to talk about the D&D movie? We don't have to go like
No, I think
scene
I
by
think
scene,
I covered
but
it. I recommend it if you're a fan of D&D. Yeah.
yeah, same here. Cool. Well, I think I'm gonna get a drink refill. Do you want me to play the Mercenary Guild trailer, the updated one that
Sure.
we got?
Yeah.
Take a little commercial break. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Check this out. Cool.
In a small, war-ravaged town on a remote island, an evil once thought banished still lurks deep within the land and is reawakening. In this slowly healing community torn between two factions, an outcast band of adventurers strive to rebuild their lives and make this island their new home. As darkness encroaches upon the weary citizens, only the Mercenary Guild stands in its way. Join the guild at themercenaryguild.com to receive an exclusive Elven Sorceress trading card.
All right.
Hello, we're back. Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm pretty happy with that trailer. There's a website where you can get copyright-free sound effects and stuff. Well, depending on the license of the creator, but I made sure I went through and everything's like a attribution license and commercial and everything. Anyways, yeah, if you're interested in free sounds, freesound.org, I think it is. I'll put it in the description of the video. But anyway, so there were specifically ones that were listed as like goblin sounds and stuff. So I grabbed those. I was like, oh, those are great. And then there was one that was super creepy, and it was titled like U.S. invades. Was it the U.S. invasion? It was like my country getting invaded or something.
Oh, okay.
And I think it was, I'm trying to remember the name of the country. But anyways, so basically what you hear, that little like da dun da, the little children's bells, whatever you call those. Yeah, that was that. And then there's like gunshots in the background, and like some guy is screaming out in agony. Anyways, it's like, man, this is fucking metal. This will go perfectly with that.
Yeah.
So
it definitely gives it it
gives
gives a little bit more effect, you know.
Gives it atmosphere, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? You know, a bunch of these goblins killing people, raiding this town, the outskirts of the city. You know.
Yeah. And we didn't have to fly to
Cause
Canada
chaos.
and spend, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. We'd have to. Yeah, we didn't go to Vancouver or wherever, and film a super. Also, that would have been Oh my god, could you imagine? We'd have to hire a bunch of extras and like people to dress up as.
Yeah, makeup and
as
wardrobe.
oh man. I mean, now that we're talking about it, it actually does sound like a cool idea. But if we made it purposefully shitty, like a parody, you know, like if we just
like
gave some guy like a crappy like make Halloween spirit Halloween goblin mask.
Yeah, with plastic swords.
Yeah, and it was just like, hey, you know, scream, you know,
It'd be like
follow.
it'd be like a Naked Gun version or something.
Yeah, we're just like, hey, chase this guy, this person around. So there's someone running like back and forth on the camera, like in all directions. You know, we can film it at like a colonial town, you know, where they still got older buildings. Could film it in St. Augustine, and then like at the fort. Oh man, we could use the fort in St. Augustine as the mercenary guild headquarters.
Huh. Yeah.
We could do this, man. We could do it. And then I'd literally just steal what's her face, one of the Soska sisters screaming. Like cut out the part about like Solari save us or something and just have her scream.
Solari!
Yep. We could do this, man. And I bet you our budget would be way less.
Yeah.
Be like $50. It'd be the plane ticket to fly you out, so you can star in it. You could get like an M. Night Shyamalan, you know, or what's that other director, Tarantino, where he's always in his own movies.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, man. Let me think. What else? What else do you want to talk about? You want to check out the Joker trailer?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, sweet. Gotta figure out how to share another window. I'm getting the hang of it though. It's not when I went back and was editing the clips for the episode 2, I was embarrassed. It's like, oh man, I can't figure this shit out. Now I'm a pro. Here we go. All right, ready?
All right.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me cut the background music. That way it's not distracting for you. Pause. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey Fleck, you got a joke for us today?
We use music to make us whole.
That's like the child piano I used in our trailer.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry.
To balance the fractures within ourselves.
I'm nobody.
It's a good score.
I haven't done anything with my life like you have. Let's get out of here.
What the world needs now is a love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
Tell us, what's changed? Are there?
I'll tell you what's changed. I'm not alone anymore. That's what we should be talking about.
I want to see the real you.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna be a musical.
Well, I think there's musical numbers in it, but again, I don't know if it's
Sure.
going to be a musical, the way I think of them. It feels a lot more like it's tied to DC than the first one.
Think so?
A little bit more. I mean, with the Arkham, just having that name in there. I don't know. Obviously, Harley Quinn.
Yeah, but it seems like, I mean, hopefully Lady Gaga. I think that's Lady Gaga. I don't. Hopefully she's not like the the Jared Leto of Harley Quinns. You know,
Yeah,
it's just like
red flags
embarrassingly
there.
cringe. And, yeah,
I don't know. I don't really know what to make of it because it didn't really tell me what it's necessarily about. I guess it's just more. I guess somehow he gets out, or maybe this is all in his head. I don't know.
yeah. I think they'll probably go in and out. You know, like they'll find a way to escape and they'll go in the city. There's that one scene of him running through the streets of Gotham. You know, if that's legit.
Yeah,
And there's other people dressed up, so they'll probably continue where these people basically worship Arthur Fleck, and they're even dressing up as him like Joker and
yeah.
trying to catch him or whatever, and he's just whatever, doing whatever he is
Well,
want to do.
and if you ever saw Batman Beyond, that's what the Joker becomes. Like he dies, but it's now a
Yeah,
street gang.
that's right. Yeah. Well,
So
and we won't talk about where they resurrect him. Do you remember
right,
that in
yeah,
Batman Beyond?
vaguely, but
But yeah, exactly. They've done they've done that a couple times where he kind of becomes like an icon of all the the Gotham Antifa or whatever.
yeah, pretty much. But I think it's
Uh,
cool if they reach for that. It shows they probably know something.
yeah, I
about
mean, I don't think it's gonna lean really that far into DC stuff. I think it'll be like the first movie where they've got some references. Like obviously they'll mention Arkham, but you're not gonna see Batman's rogues gallery uh, of other villains locked up in cells. Maybe they'll do like. I mean, it would be cool if they just had him walking. When they're walking him down the cells, and you just see, I don't know, one cell just has a bunch of stuff scratched into the wall, and you're like, oh, that's probably Zaz.
Yeah,
And one has maybe like a green marker and it's got like a question mark or something. You're like, oh, that's the real. But something like that. I mean, I don't really give a shit. I mean, this is a total departure of typical DC movie stuff, which I think is what makes it interesting. But
yeah. I think it's definitely going to have since it's releasing right before Halloween. I think it's going to have a horror
oh yeah,
you know, type of vibe. Like it'll be the dark fantasy of comic book movies.
yeah, hopefully, and they'll probably just go on like a psychotic rampage, and in their head, it's like they're singing and dancing the whole time, and they're dressed up really fancy, but it's really just like them shooting people and murdering people in the streets or whatever.
Yeah.
So I wonder if because the last movie towards the end when he gets arrested, I mean, assuming it's not all in his head inside Arkham or whatever,
Yeah.
it's like the city's on the edge of a complete total societal breakdown.
Yep.
Like Escape from Gotham style.
It's like
So,
Chicago.
yeah. So I wonder.
No offense to our Chicago goins out there.
Get out while you can. Yeah. I've been to Chicago. You know what's weird about? Well, it's not weird. It's like a lot of the big cities. Chicago is actually, unless I just had rose tinted glasses because I was there for the first time, but I was there last year, and downtown. So I will say, from what I saw, unless they were about to have an election or Xi Jinping was coming to visit or some bullshit, like they do a really good job of hiding how shitty they are, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that
It,
makes because yeah,
yeah,
San Francisco did that when that one guy visited. Yeah,
that exactly. That was the joke. Yeah, exactly. So they, like I've been to Atlanta and Georgia, and holy shit, that city is a total shithole.
yeah,
Like just homeless tents everywhere. But for the most part in Chicago, I saw maybe like a tent, and I was like, oh, there's random homeless. But even the tent, it like blends into the building, so they're camouflaging, their symptoms of societal decay there and
yeah,
degeneracy. But so I will say, so kudos to you, Chicago. Uh,
yeah,
I'm sure as soon as I leave the proper downtown area and you get to start going towards the south side of town where all the murders happen, it's probably really, really, really bad. But
yeah. I think that's how it's broken up. Like, there's areas of Chicago that are nice. You don't have to
yeah,
worry about the BS, and then there's yeah, south side and wow, yeah,
yeah, because like you have the river, it's really nice. You take boat cruises and you can still see a lot of the nice older buildings, like the classic architecture.
yeah,
Uh, before they constructed a bunch of gaudy, like postmodern towers of misery and depression. So
yeah,
I'm kind of biased. I do not like postmodern architecture. God, it just looks fucking awful.
yeah.
It's like
That's pretty
completely.
much all we have here in the Bay Area nowadays. So
Oh, really?
I mean,
Yeah.
at least you go. San Francisco has some, classic buildings, but you couldn't pay me to drive up to San Francisco. It's bad. It's
Sure.
really
Yeah. Then
bad.
you'd have to go to San Francisco.
You just
Ah, man. I'm trying to remember when the last time I was out that area. I don't know if I've ever really been to San Francisco. I've been to San Diego. That was nice. That was also a while ago.
well, the thing is, San
Um,
Francisco used to be a great place to go up and try a restaurant and all. There was it really was pleasant, and for the most part, at least during the day, you felt safe. Uh,
sure, yeah.
but there was shopping district. All that's gone. Like you go to Union Square, that used to be a they had Nordstroms and like double decker
Oh, cool.
department stores, and those are gone. And those were an attraction, you know,
I gotcha.
for
Yeah, I
people who
mean,
were like sick of malls. You were outdoors and
right.
you could go from building to building. You know,
Yeah, like a very yeah, we have one of those in Jacksonville. Um, that's probably the busiest mall. Yeah, those are nice. Yeah, I mean, I always remember hearing about how shitty crime was in LA, but for the most part, San Francisco, it was like the edge of the south part of Northern California, and that's where all the tech companies were. Um, but man, over time, it's gotten really, really bad
yeah,
and really expensive. But yeah, I have family out in southern LA, like Costa Mesa.
okay,
So I used to go visit them, but after, the older I get, the more I realize, oh my God, California's a shithole.
yeah,
I don't want to go out there. So I haven't been out there in a while, but I did go to New York like 2, 3 years ago. Like once they were kind of getting out of the COVID, like the
okay,
malaise of COVID. So stuff was open. You could actually, but it was, people weren't out as much because all the people who didn't flee to Florida actually want to be imprisoned in their homes for 2 weeks at a time, I guess. So
yeah,
it wasn't that busy, but yeah, man, New York is awful. It's so dirty. Oh my God.
yeah,
These American cities, man, they're awful.
yeah.
Like Miami, Tampa,
Miami used
Orlando.
to be such, you know, s- a hell of a lot better than it is now. Let's put it that way, right?
Guilt. Yeah. We went to Miami a couple months ago. Actually, I went to a part of kind of North Miami I hadn't been to before. Um, That was actually a pretty nice area. I was surprised, pleasantly surprised. Went there for a little comic convention. Oh, speaking of which, yeah, it's a small world. Comics. Um, do you know Bleeding Fool? It's like Bleeding Cool, but
Yeah, yeah.
so I met a guy at that convention who I don't know what his official title, like indie comic. He's a contributor basically.
Okay.
And it was funny because we were talking, and at some point, I think he was just like, "Yeah, look me up on Twitter or whatever." And so I pulled him up, and I'm like, "Oh shit, is this you?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, I've talked to you before because they reached out to us. They do like an indie comic showcase, and I think they did a review or they did a showcase of Hardly Heroes, and then when we released launched the volume or whatever." And so it's like, holy shit, I've been messaging you. Like, here's our chat, right? Like, this is this is the chat you check when you're, doing bleeding full stuff. So
Huh.
yeah, shout out to those guys. I
Yeah.
just remember that, but yeah, that guy's cool.
Well, I mean, they give everybody their material, all these videos on YouTube of reading an article to you.
Mhm.
Bleeding Fool pretty much supplies a lot of that material.
Yeah, they're on top of it. Yeah, I'd probably reach out to them and see if we can get someone on as a guest. That'd be a fun guest.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'm sure they've probably read through a bunch of indie titles. So
yeah,
cool to see what they're looking
if
at.
they like what we're doing, and that that'll mean something.
Yeah, yeah, and they're. I mean, yeah, I haven't met everyone there, but they're like real. It's funny. All the people in indie comics are actually passionate about comics, and all the people.
You know what? All the people who walked away from comics, the former fan, Bleeding Fool is still a source they go to for any type of news or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, and everyone's excited, but then you look at like what people are doing in mainstream comics, or even like some of these bigger conventions, or fuck, I mean, people seem miserable.
Yeah,
we never ended up. Well, we're coming up on the hour 45-minute mark, so I don't know if you want to get into Ed Piss score tonight, or maybe we can talk about it another night.
Well, I mean, I don't have a lot to say on it. We can get into it if you want. I mean, I think it's again, cancel culture at its ugliest form, and it's all over comic books. So I don't know. Hello.
Sorry, I'm listening. I'm just eating a cookie, so I don't want it to crunch. Keep going.
Oh. I mean, it's tragic, but I think this guy kind of swam in the same circles as the people who canceled him. So apparently they turned or something like that, or they weren't going to support him when he needed them. And this is the end result. And this is again, he's probably terminally online. So
yeah, it sounded like it because I read through his note. I mean, I didn't know the guy, and I don't know I mean, I've heard of people, that are in the mob that descended on him, but just based off of what, I mean, him or his idea of himself, self-described, is he didn't leave the house very much. It was all online friends and drawing, working on books. So
yeah.
and kept talking about COVID. So I'm not sure where he lived, but I guess I don't know, like, I don't know. I'm just throwing out a city. We'll say Austin, Texas. They're probably even today still weird about that stuff. They probably still haven't moved on.
Yeah.
Talking about COVID stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say on it either. I would just say it's sometimes tragedies or people who make mistakes, whatever category you want to file this under, because I'm pretty much on the opposite side. I think that, well, I have conflicted takes about it. Like, on the one hand, are you okay?
Yeah.
You didn't mean to mute you? Okay. I agree with you where it's kind of like he made his bed, so he should lie in it. If he's associating with these people, if he's involved in the same kind of groups that have targeted other people in the past, well then, haha, like, you just won the Darwin Award because you're the dumbass that hung out with these people and kind of got what you fucking just speaking of the Joker movie,
Yeah, I know.
you got what you fucking deserve. But I don't know that. I've just heard that. So all I'll say is, you got his side of the story, and yeah, it isn't news. It's not surprising that people people will try to cancel people, and that's their goal. They don't really have any real power over you. I mean, yes, like, they can call and harass your business, or like your company that you work for, which, don't dox yourself, like, don't put all your information out publicly so people can find every detail about your life,
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, they can't actually do anything to you, like, physically, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they can't. It's not like they're gonna come to your door and like try to. They're not a gang. They're
I mean,
fucking
they may
internet
try to
monsters.
swat you, have you swatted, but
Right. But all they can do at that point is try to outsource some kind of physical force against you. You know what I mean? Like, these are a bunch of giant pussies on the internet. Like, like, what, they can't do shit
yeah,
to anybody. So, I mean, even in large numbers, if they were in a group, like, you could probably still take them. Be like in Dynasty Warriors. You remember those games where you just go
it's
through?
like once you drop the first two, then the rest scatter.
Oh, that too, yeah, because they're terrified. They're like, oh, I don't want to get dropped, kicked in the face. Anyway, so my my point about that is that let this be a lesson, to maybe guys specifically. If you're an artist out there, you're an up and comer, you want to work in the industry, whether you're a part of that crowd or you think you need the validation of those people, just don't. Like, your life is still worth more than whatever these assholes
Yeah, you got to have self
accuse you.
validation. You can't look to others to validate.
Yeah. So, and it was clear that this was his identity. Like, he wasn't able to fathom the idea of, well, what would my life be like without this? If I wasn't associated with these people. It's like, well, that you fucked up. You gave them all the power over you right
That's
there.
it.
So, it was perceived, but it's still, it was real to him, enough to him. So you really, you need to, I was talking about this offline when we were chatting before the show, like, well, I'll just relate this back to me. Like, Shattermare Comics isn't my life. It's not my identity. Like, yes, I obviously enjoy doing what we do a lot, especially with the time investment, the money, like, all of the creative energy that goes into this stuff. It's great. It's, I'm passionate about it. But I log off of this, I still have other stuff, like,
Yeah.
I've got different groups of friends. I've got my family, friends, you guys, daily work associates.
You got a job,
We've got our day jobs right now. So it's not, I mean, it's okay to be invested in something emotional. I'm not saying, like, you walk around your life, you go through your life just being completely uninvested in anything. I mean, then you'd just be like a zoomer, I guess. But yeah, you don't want to make something your whole identity, where if something, something happens.
You got to be well rounded. You got to have other things grounding you.
Yeah, I mean, you have hobbies and work and personal life. And yeah, I mean, I used to, man, just going to school, like I'd be at school and then I have, okay, these are my school friends. And
Yeah.
then I would leave school, and this is high school. This isn't like, this is like a decade ago or more, whatever. Doesn't matter. These are my school and then I would leave, and then I'd basically never associate with those people. Like I had my friends that were outside of school. Like these were my regular friends that
Yep.
I'd hang out with, from
Yep.
the block, from the hood, as the kids like to say. So and then like never did those two worlds overlap, and then I'd have people I work with that I hang. Anyways, that like I'd have D&D nerd friends, and like friends I'd hang out with if I was playing baseball or what. It's just completely different groups of people, but
Yeah.
you know, it's. But I guess if you're stuck at home and you're online, like you don't realize there's a whole world out there of
Yeah.
people and shit to do.
I mean, at times I just got unplug, and there's certain days I don't even want to get online, and sometimes I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like people have to remember they've got to, I don't know, pinch themselves or something and just remember like that's not the real world.
Yeah.
The internet is not the real world. I mean, there's all kinds of shit going on. So
Yeah, I mean that stuff can eat you up too. You can get addicted to all the drama and all the this and sometimes
yeah,
it's nice just to put on an old movie and just watch that, you know.
yeah, exactly.
Leave your phone, you know, whatever, and then just enjoy yourself. Find a movie you like and enjoy it.
Yeah,
And
watch a movie, whatever. I mean, that's what I use video games nowadays for, because I have almost no time to play games, but the little time I do, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sit down, do this for 2 3 hours, whatever,
yeah,
unwind. Like, don't think about other bullshit I have to do. Just
yeah.
focus on enjoying something for the sake of enjoying it. So, anyways, yeah. So I guess I'd like overall, I'd say, you know, I from what I understand, it's not like I would have gotten along with the guy, but
I think he would hate us.
yeah, but at the same time, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, just be independent. I mean, it's not like it sounds like from the note he was, one of these other guys that are just like, oh man, I'm gonna get this pitch, oh man, I was so close to getting this one deal that would have set me up. I would have had a ton of money. It's like, bro, how long have you been doing this? Like, how much stuff could you have done
Yeah.
on your own? So I don't know, but so
Well, if he did it right, he got the chops. He can make a living in indie comics.
yeah, or I mean, even a lot of these guys aren't really like. I mean, I guess the question is like, how mainstream do you have to be considered mainstream? Because a lot of the guys I meet that are going to shows and stuff, they're contract artists. Like they do a cover, and uh I don't know if this is just a secret or it's because people don't talk about it, because on the internet all you hear is like SJW comic Twitter opinions and the culture war and bullshit. But like most of the people I meet that are artists, they're like normal guys just trying to support their family.
Yeah.
Which means they're probably pretty conservative. Like they're probably center right or right, or they're center left, and they're not completely retarded. Like they're pretty grounded. They're just normal people.
Yeah, when you got to go out and earn
So
it, that's usually
yeah, that's true. Like if you have any level of responsibility or like a work ethic, you're basically going to be conservative.
Yeah.
Like let's face it,
Do it,
children are
yeah.
liberal.
Yep.
Like the less responsibility you have, the more liberal you're going to be.
Yep.
So, anyways, so those guys are like propping up the industry, because I don't see these comics selling gangbusters like manga does.
No,
and even
manga's
a lot of
hard.
indie titles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Manga's, if anybody takes down like a Marvel or DC, which I don't think will ever happen, it's going to be manga.
Yeah.
It's not going to be indie.
Right. Yeah, they already are poised to do so. I mean, you see Marvel and DC shifting. That's who they're competing with. The manga studios, not
Yeah.
uh not indie guys. You know,
No.
they hate us. They're like, "Oh, you're like sitting down in the sewers," and we're laughing at them like, "No, we're not. Like, we don't even give a shit about you." I mean, I was joking earlier about competing with them and stuff, but it's like I don't base, what our plans are based on what Marvel and DC are doing.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel,
So,
like that Ultimate Spider-Man comic, they're on the third printing of the first issue. They've probably sold well over 100,000 copies of each issues 1 through 3 of each, and
which is great. I plan on picking that up. But like,
you
what's
know, we
you
can't
know,
compete with that. Like making $9 million, which is a lot of money in India. In fact,
mhm.
it's unseen, but
well, but on
that's a
the
drop in the bucket for Marvel and DC.
well, but on the other side of the token, like, what's the last comic they've sold that sold those numbers?
Yeah, it's been a while.
So
And none
for
of their
them,
other
they're like,
books
thank
are coming
fucking God.
close. So
Right. So yeah, I mean they'll always, I mean they're not going to go under because they're always going to have a parent company.
yeah,
Like they could be a literal loss leader for like Disney and Warner or AT&T, whoever owns Warner now. So yeah, they'll continue even if they're just IP catalogs.
yeah.
They'll carry on.
IP Farms or whatever. Where
Yeah, that's
well, make
pretty
a
much
show about this. Okay.
right, and that's what they do. And it either does okay or bombs, or 1 out of like 20 is a joker, and it's profitable and it funds the next 19 pieces of shit they come out with. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, but a lot of the people that are propping up that market are cover artists for speculators. Where I mean, because if you're talking about the actual comic companies, like, are the actual comic companies, how do they make money? And they're happy to sell 10,000 books of something, except this new Ultimate Spider-Man, because that's obviously an outlier.
Yeah.
It's the speculators that are like, the companies are licensing out their IPs to quote unquote comic shops, and they'll have a guest artist, or they'll just let you straight up pay the licensing fee to do a cover for them. You do a limited run cover, say like, oh, there's only 500 of these. You can get the trade dress, or you can get the full art virgin cover, or the set, right? Or a foil, or a metal, whatever bullshit. And then they're like, oh, look, get it CGC graded and try to flip it on eBay for $400, which you can, but people are going to try. So, but yeah, that's a lot of it. I don't remember where I was going with that. I think just to say, you hear a lot of skewed information, but on the ground, it's not, I guess I would say, as bad as all of the people that are chronically online.
Yeah, are
Like,
making
there's
it out to be.
there's like still real people, normal people working in the industry. So there's that. So there's that little bit of good news. But then yeah, like you should fucking off yourself because because a bunch of dipshits on Twitter, harassing you or whatever. Just turn it off and walk away. I mean, worst case scenario, say tomorrow, people get wind of this podcast right now, right? This show. And they're like, oh, look at these fucking losers. Oh, what a bunch of incels. Oh, they think they can make comic books. What a bunch of misogynists. This guy raped 16 women. I probably just got his banned right there off of YouTube. But like, whatever bullshit they throw at us, you know, and then my spiteful ex-girlfriends come out of the woodwork to share DMs and bullshit about me. Uh, like, what does that matter?
Yeah.
Like,
Um,
like, okay, great. I guess I don't have a comic company anymore, but you know,
Yeah.
like I just wouldn't respond. But also, I just wouldn't respond. You know, like I just wouldn't say anything. I'd be like, okay, well, thanks for the publicity, I guess. But
yeah.
but like right now, but if like all the conventions that we go to were like, oh, we're canceling you, you know, like what's the people, I guess, in our circle that got banned from C2E2 or whatever,
hmm
uh, whatever. You just go on. Like,
Well, I think the attitude now with lot of people, just in general, is that the act of trying to cancel somebody is becoming worse than whatever shit they're making up or digging up. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, okay, maybe the guy did this or that 10 years ago, but look at what you're doing, you know.
yeah. People see nowadays. That's why I agree with you that it's like this guy kind of was one of them because everyone kind of knows the game at this point. Even like more average normie people, like they've heard of cancel culture. This isn't. This is a social media thing. This is like a very like I mean, I'll just come out and say it's a very feminine thing to do,
Yeah.
to form whisper networks and fucking rumor mills
Yeah.
about people. So yeah, that's just how shitty
It's
people
very
like that.
mean girls type
Yeah,
of
that's just how mean girls use the internet. You know, social media caters to people like that. So it is what it is. But we would never, at the end of the day, like our lives would go on. We would do whatever we're gonna do. Um, but people like that, like you said earlier, who need the validation from certain people in that quote unquote in group,
Yeah.
like they're most affected. You know,
hmm
it's like they're eating. It's just the classic thing of they're eating their own, basically.
Yeah, they are.
So, so at the end of the day, like I'm not gonna I'm not gonna cry crocodile tears like other YouTubers that are like, oh, rip this guy. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? This person hated you and you hated them.
Yeah.
Like, like, like that. What kind
Again,
of?
I don't really know the guy. I'm not familiar with his work. If somebody wants to post something that he did or whatever,
Yeah. Well, I just mean like these YouTubers that are constantly shitting on, you know, like, oh, this character in this new comic's gay or something. You know what I mean? Like, I
yeah,
don't know the guy either. I'm just speculating based on what I heard. Like, hypothetically, say this guy was involved in one of those comics, they would feel no remorse for the guy. Like, they would shit on the guy all day. They
yeah.
have no empathy for it. So it's
No, they don't. They haven't.
so that
Nobody has shown that on that
right.
side of the fence. Nobody. They went basically radio silent.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like if I was, you know, if that was the case, like I'm not gonna be like, oh man, this guy, blah blah blah. You know, I'm just gonna okay, what are the lessons we can take away from this situation? You know, what
Yeah.
can like how can this be a lesson to other guys? Well, this is what you get if you are in an industry and you associate with women and
Beta males and
yeah, and they love bomb you and they don't like you and they want to get back at you after a few years. Like, you know, this is the age of groupies is over. You know, the age of OnlyFans has begun. so, so I don't know. I like I don't there isn't really a solution. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, don't I don't know. I just don't associate. I just use the Mike Pence rule. I
yeah.
just don't associate with women, you know, unless the you know.
Yeah, unless yeah. I mean,
Unless it's like, unless I'm married to you, or you're my mother, or you're my girlfriend, you know.
yeah,
And
I'm not gonna
you know,
go out of my way to, yeah.
right. And I never introduced any of those three to each other, you know. I'm just kidding. But yeah, like you just don't, yeah, don't do that. So, and ultimately the issue will correct itself. I mean, I guess if other beta males off themselves, and it's gonna it's gonna be a dark day for the comic industry. But uh I mean, people are gonna be smarter, and they're gonna be like, "Oh man, I
Well,
see."
here's the thing: they're running out of people to attack, so they're attacking each other, and it's
Yeah,
always a man. And like if
yep,
they attack us and say, "Oh, they're a bunch of racist," so what? They've been saying
yeah,
about people like our side that we're confiscated is this and that. So yeah, so what? We've heard
right.
that
I don't.
before.
That
So
doesn't bother me.
now they're going after people who. So we're not really there. We're not a target as much as a lot of people. As long as we just keep doing what we're doing, and we're not
Yeah,
that big.
like if they were like, "Oh, you're a racist," I'd be like, "No, you."
Yeah.
I move on with my day. No, you.
So now they need someone to attack. So it's like, hey, it'll probably be let's go after Dan Slott because he, whatever, shit his pants 20 years ago or something.
Yeah, yeah, or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Well, fine. Hey, there was this line. You ever see that movie, The Social Network,
Yeah,
about Facebook? And he's telling the whatever the blonde hair kid is telling the other one. He's like, look, whatever you've done in your life, to trip you up, you've already done. And if you manage to live your life like the Dalai Lama, they'll make shit up.
right. That's true.
You know,
Yeah, people
so
make stuff up.
you know,
I mean, according to the said guy, they made stuff up about him. Like he's telling his family, "Hey, you need to sue these people for slander, for libel."
yeah,
I mean, it's just a bunch of cherry picked bullshit. Yeah, because I never saw any receipts. It's not like people were going around going, "Oh, here's a smoking gun police report." It's all bullshit,
yeah,
in my opinion. Unless I see some kind of a police report.
yeah. Well, no
Like
police
what?
report. It didn't happen.
Yeah, like this isn't like what crime has happened? What are you even up in arms about? No, it's just bullshit and drama. So it's like, oh man, how are you this emotionally invested in it? I don't know. It's
I
hard
guess
to
some people
understand.
knew him. I don't know. Again, you know, I I mean, it sucks that they sent news crews to his parents' house and his house, and I think that was the catalyst. Really, it wasn't so much the Twitter; it was his local news coming, to the house, and I think neighbors finding out shit and things like that. I think that's what really, like,
Yeah, but it was like a onslaught of stuff. So it was like getting dropped from events, the
yeah,
news crew, jumping on a sensational story or whatever.
yeah.
All of going viral or whatever, that kind of stuff.
Like, why the hell's a news crew there? It's not going
I
to
got
somebody's house. That's intimidating.
they got nothing going on in their town, I guess. I mean, he said he was from a small town, so
Oh, okay. So
or going back home, something about
it's like
I
otherwise,
can't go home. That's yeah, it's like the only thing that happened and I guess worth covering. But yeah, that's the thing. I mean, they don't well, it's fact checking. They're not doing research. They're not doing a deep dive. They probably did less research than I did for this
probably,
conversation.
probably.
So you probably saw some bullshit post or tweet or whatever, and we're like, oh, this guy. Like, how do they even know where his parents live and stuff? So I guess they did that much, or they got tipped off, or so that's the thing.
Yeah, they got
All
tipped off.
bullshit.
That was part of the whole cancel plan.
Mm. So yeah, it's just a coordinated. I mean, look, these people in the comic industry are virtually unemployed. Like you see them begging constantly for money and stuff.
Yes.
Uh, so they got a lot of time on their hands. So I would believe that they had some kind of coordinated effort to do this. So
Yeah, of course they live for this shit. This
Yeah,
is a win for these sick bastards.
well, yeah, but is it?
Yeah,
I
mean,
mean,
yeah,
like I understand what you're saying. It is in their mind, but
yeah.
I don't think a lot of leftists always like to use the term optics. I don't think the optics are too great for them on this.
No.
So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's just we're on the other side of the fence looking
I think
in.
I saw some things that they're trying to blame Comicsgate. It was really the Comicsgate people who did it. But didn't the guy name names in his note? So
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
He
they're trying to
said some.
backhand it into Comicsgate court, and it just ain't gonna fly. Man.
Yeah. So I mean, you just go read it. It's available. Not you specifically. I'm just saying, like people in general.
Yeah,
So yeah. I mean, we're probably even late to the party talking about this. So
we are. We are.
it's probably not even really much of a thing anymore. But yeah, I mean, it's just again, like what kind of lesson can other guys take away from this? And I think primary lesson is here's another example of a guy who thought he was uh doing the right thing, being a good little 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 guy, like not doing any people wrong,
Yeah.
huffing the bullshit, and then there you go. They like come after you and target you. I mean, this is the people he associates with.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like this is another thing we're talking about offline. Kyle and I go to a lot of shows, and we've been to a lot of events. At this point, like maybe I shouldn't say a lot. We've been to enough, I'll say. And I see this on a local scale. I see people, I talk to different people in different groups, and we're neutral. I mean, I don't go around telling people my life story. So I just
Right.
meet people and talk to them and have conversations, and like the majority of the artists and people who are just pretty normal, like they're decent guys or whatever. You have those people that in the real world they're kind of a minority, um, unless they congregate together, I guess. But anyways, like you have those people that are weird, and you can tell if you're used to dealing with people that these people are fucking weird and they're not quite right, and the way they talk about things is not straightforward. You're like, what are you saying or not saying? Or they're because it's all based off of validation. They'll try to be overly they'll try to flatter you a lot.
Yeah.
They're like overly nice, kind of weird stuff.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, well, what are you trying to get out of me?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want? Because if we were just having a regular conversation, then you would just talk. You would get to know someone. You're not doing weird things where you clearly want something from me, but and so you're trying to manipulate me.
I had that at my local bar a couple months
Oh,
ago.
really?
I was hanging outside having a cigarette or something. This guy comes in, he's, hey, you, and like he knew me. I never seen this guy before. And let's play pool. Let's do that. And I'm like, no, I just want to sit and have my drink, and sure enough, next time I went out for a cigarette or something, he wanted a cigarette. He wanted free. You know what I mean? And
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like I knew you wanted to I knew you want something from me, and you're gonna butter people up to get free smokes. He was doing that to a lot of people, overly friendly and kind of invasive.
Yeah, exactly. It's obvious. Well, maybe it's obvious to us because when you're talking to people through digital platforms, you lose pretty much all tonality and context. There's no body language, obviously. So maybe younger people, they don't get this. Like Gen Z and Gen Alpha or whatever. It's probably attributing to why they're so antisocial. But like you and I mean, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You just interact with someone and you go, okay, well, why are you acting this way? Like, I don't know you, so what is it that you want? Clearly, you want something because you're not there. People are pretty obvious. Like, very few people are so. Um, Very few people are legitimate sociopaths. Where they're so
Yeah.
good at acting, they can con you. I mean, and
Very
those people,
precarious.
right? And those people are like on Wall Street. Like
Yeah.
those people are like Sam Bankman-Fried or whatever that guy's name is. They're not in fucking comics. But all these dipshits run around thinking they're like the next who's the guy, the Wolf of Wall Street guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They think they're that guy. You know what I mean? And it's like, I see right through your bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell exactly the type of person you are just from like a handful of interactions. So, anyways, yeah, Kyle and I will go to these shows and we'll hang out and talk to each other and laugh, and we just laugh at the drama because we're not stupid. We're like, I can tell that that person's a weirdo, and they probably attract a bunch of drama, and they're not a stable individual.
Yeah.
They probably have some issues.
When the mask comes off. Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, or just their behavior. Like you look at the way they like. What's a typical behavior of someone always blaming other people? If you
Yeah.
hang out with someone for a day and somehow all of their woes and problems are other people's fault. They never talk about and or like get some weird autistic outburst. I mean, there's a bunch of fucking weirdos in comics.
Yeah.
So
Go hand
yeah,
in hand.
yeah, exactly. Especially with these artists, I don't know, but not even just artists. I shouldn't say that. But yeah, I mean, you just don't go around those people. I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. If you're relying so much on their validation, and you want to be cool and accepted, then yeah, you're gonna force yourself to be around these people, whether it's in person or digitally or whatever, and you're gonna give them power over you. But
Yeah.
yeah, these people that we meet, I mean, someone's gonna hear this and take this out of context, but this is very much contextualized to this conversation. Like, they don't have power over me. Like, don't have leverage over me. And I don't mean to. It's gonna come off like an asshole, but I don't give a shit about them. Like, not to say like I can't be friendly and I'm not friends with a lot of people that we meet, but at the end of the day, they're business relationships, and you have to be professional and
Yeah, just be
remember,
professional. Be
yeah,
polite, be professional, and
right. Like, it's a business relationship. So if I have business relationships with somebody, um, I shouldn't be in a situation where I'm fucking them. I don't know if that's controversial to say.
yeah.
You know, this guy wasn't in his 20s. He wasn't just looking for like a fresh new hole everywhere he went. Right? He's like almost in his 40s. So it's like, if you want to hook up with younger girls, just go find a sugar baby. You know what I mean? Like, go to a dating website, like sign up for a dating app.
Yep. Yeah,
I
you'll,
mean, just
you'll find one.
yeah, or just meet. I mean, God, there's groupies at conventions that aren't artists. Like, you can
Yeah.
meet women. Women are attracted to artists. Shocker.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's not worth it. I would not give up the next, I don't know, maybe 30 years I have left on this world. Whatever.
Yeah.
30, good, maybe 40 if I'm lucky. 50 for any bullshit from other people. Well,
Yep, it'll pass. I mean, we
yeah.
just put out good work, and that'll speak for itself.
But
And we can build ourselves up without having to, tear other people down.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's all fun. But I guess I will send. I did commit to sending the comic newbie a
Oh,
free
did he
copy of the book.
respond?
Oh, I don't know. should I check? Let me check. I don't I have to refresh the page. Hold on, let me. I I don't see the comment anymore. I guess you post it and then it gets filtered or something.
There was nothing bad about that comment.
No. Oh man, maybe you deleted it. Because if you get YouTube comments, it'll it will send you ones and you can approve them or
Fix
not
it.
approve.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, if anyone knows, or if anyone in Earth, if you know, if our Master J, if you ever see this, I got you, bro. Even if you, whatever happens to my comment, I got you. You know, get a
Yeah.
copy of a real 32-page comic book on us. So
Be some compensation.
yeah,
We can't do that for all the people who are disappointed in their purchase.
right. Yeah, this is a special case. So any people out there who bought the the $75 $75 art book from Ripperbird, this is to you. This goes out to, and I say that, and then like 1,500 people hit me up. And they're like, okay, if more than 5 people hit us up, then you get a free version of the digital copy. No, how about this? The first 10 people who hit me up, the first 5 people, if you hit us up, because you bought that, this is an outreach program, the Shattermare Comics outreach program. Then yeah, I'll send you a physical copy. The rest of you get the digital copy.
Eric July will probably
what are
find
we, Eric
out,
July
too.
over here?
Act now.
I don't ship overpriced book. I don't ship full costed books to charities. What do you think this is? Come on. Yeah. Hey, if he finds out, look, Eric, go back and watch the part where I told you to give them out as free comic book day. Okay.
Yeah.
I stand by that.
That would be a really cool thing. That'd be a good promotional tool.
Yeah.
You
sure.
don't make money off it, but I think you can gain a lot of just support.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? You want to hear a funny story? Well, I'll say 2 things, and then after that, we'll also have to end the stream because I'm getting sleepy.
Okay.
I gotta build my streaming stamina, William.
Oh yeah, I hear you.
But okay, so no, legitimately, if Eric did that, but he still did it for like his like paid members, so he didn't completely deflate the value of that art book, that would be a good business strategy, I think.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. The second thing is, so did you know that comic shops still pay for free comic book days books?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so I didn't know that. And so the first year that we did free comic books, that we had Hardly Heroes out, I put a little 12-page sampler together. I still have some copies of them sitting around. I'll probably give them out this year as well. But yeah, so I printed a lot though. I printed probably like a lot's relative, obviously, but I probably printed, I want to say like 200. And like we went to a bunch of comic shops and handed them out for free comic book day that we were kind of already talking to in Florida. And
Okay.
I think I might even ship some, but I think we drove around like half of Florida and Georgia, just like stores that we were already delivering books to,
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously the ones that we were doing signings in. And no, it was great for the signings because like they pick up the copy, and then I'd be like, if we were there, be like, hey, here's the full version if you want to check it out, or we'd run out because I want to give one store like 100 copies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They pick them up. I'd be like, hey, we already ran out of free comic book day books, but we've got the book right here, and they're like, oh yeah, let me check it out. How's it going? But I was dumb. I I printed all those fucking books out, and then I went around and gave them for free. Duh, as like an advertising thing, just the marketing. Like, oh yeah, whatever. I'll eat the cost of these
Yeah.
to print a smaller book, and still more pages than Eric July's art book. By the way, I think our free comic book day is like 12 pages. So, anyways, but I was talking to some of the stores, and no, they're still paying like the cost and or the shipping of all the little free comic book days they get from the main publishers.
Huh.
Like, so even, or they have to order, like, get like a minimum. So even if they're getting them for free, like they're still paying the shipping on all of them. Which ends up being a lot, you know what I mean? If they're getting like
Well,
a
yeah,
ton of
because
them.
that's kind of dirty pool because free comic book day should be maybe they shouldn't make the retailer have to pay. They
Yeah,
should eat the cost. It's to promote their characters and their world.
exactly. That's exactly what I expected. And then I talked to some retailers, and no, not true. Like they pass it on to the retailers, and the retailers have to eat the cost, obviously, because it's free
Of course.
comic book day. So,
Yeah.
just goes to show you there's no such thing as a free comic book. So disappointed. But yeah, so that's when I found out that we did a good thing by a good thing for the shops. So the shops were like, oh great, yeah, I'll hand out your book. Yeah, throw it on the counter there. Why not? Because they'd already paid for a bunch of other books that were
I
given
mean,
out.
they get a lot of customers, but so maybe they make a
Yeah.
lot of sales as well on those
That's the
days.
idea. Yeah, that's the idea, is that you're going to give out a bunch of free books, but you're going to make it up with regular sales. So yeah, and even still with the economy and all the inflation and shit, that's still probably the best. If I had to guess, that's still probably the best day for the retailers because they're getting a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah, there are
it's just
lines. There are lines for when they open up.
yeah, especially at one of my at the local one we're going to be at this year. Shout out to Gotham City Limit here in Jacksonville and Mythical Mountain. I think we might bounce between both of those, but for sure we've got Gotham booked already. Anyways, so yeah, they're at the local shop there. They've got like a line, and then one of them he does deals like leading up to free comic book day, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have some good LCSs here. But yeah, and anyway, so that's my free comic book day story.
Yeah.
So,
well,
yeah.
and maybe honestly, most of the free comics, some are good, but some aren't. Usually, by the time I would get there, they'd be all the good ones be picked clean, and I'd get just some title that I never heard of.
Right.
Like, hey.
The dog shit annual that people threw together, the Pride Month books. Some of the books are literally just like books that they have to get rid of because no one would buy it.
Well, I know like last year they had the Conan book, but I'm sure that was gone by the time.
Oh yeah, I grabbed one of those.
Yeah, I'm sure that thing was the first thing people grabbed. So by the time I would get there, it'd be gone, and that's the only reason I would go.
I'll have to dig through my stuff and see if I can find that for you. I'll send it to you if you want it. I gotta read it.
We'll see.
But I mean, most of them though are like samplers or intros, so like it shouldn't be like
it's not
whatever
a complete story,
right? Yeah, or like whatever that Conan book was, that should be in the regular launch. I imagine. so shouldn't be missing out on much. I don't know. I'll have to dig through my stuff and find it. But yeah, they do some cool stuff. I mean, a lot of them are still like annuals of, hey, here's stuff that's coming. You know, so
a
a lot of them,
preview.
yeah, previews basically. Yeah, some of them are just samples of like, you know, here's the first 6 pages or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, some of the like the smaller, bigger publishers, indie publishers, they'll do like couple of short stories. I don't know. It's, you know, different things, different marketing. Some of them are like half ads. So eventually, I'd like to do, you know, like we talked about doing a crossover with Mercenary Guild or Hardly Heroes.
Yeah.
Do like a Shattermare Comics annual. That would be cool. So,
yeah,
gotta tell Luke to pick up the pace.
That's what he's doing right now.
I know. I would never be mad at him if he was like, "Hey, I couldn't make a stream. I'm working on art." I'd be like, "You're doing good, doing the Lord's work."
And he's been hitting it pretty hard the last couple of days. As far as Tuesday, I think he did like 2 or 3 streams. That's usual, and then he did one this morning. I was kind of surprised. So I was at work. I think it was around 10 o'clock my time. So
nice.
Or 8. I think it started at 8, but I think I caught it around 9:30 or 10.
Sure. Man's working hard.
It's pretty good though. They talk about comics, you know, like what got them into the business and things like that. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to do that one day.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of talked about that earlier. Just wanting to start a D&D comic. We kind of talked about that.
Yeah.
We'll have to do a more in-depth discussion. So,
for sure. For sure.
Do like interview ourselves.
I might actually go through some of my boxes and just revisit some old runs.
Nice.
I don't see why not, you know, but there were comics that when I was a kid I read over and over and over. I can definitely start reading them again.
Yeah, when I get back from traveling, I got I had that same store. I couldn't find the actual run. Like I talked to multiple dealers and people that carry back issues and have sets. And I mean, I didn't look that hard, I guess, but I was a little surprised. So eventually I was just like, fuck it, is there like a volume or a trade of this? And so I ordered the Wanted, the Mark Millar Wanted series. Remember they made a movie like very, very loosely based off of it with Angelina Jolie and back in the
Curving the Bullet.
Yeah, from what I understand, that movie, like 5% of that movie is the comic book.
It's comic accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's not even. It's basically the Joker. Like imagine the Joker was marketed as like this is the Joker movie with. Oh, are you excited to see Batman? You know, like that kind of. Well, I don't know. The Joker is more fanfare. I don't know, but you know how the Joker basically it's just the names of the characters. Like you could take the characters' names out and it would be a totally different movie. Like it'd be Falling Down basically.
Yeah, Falling Down.
From what I understand, that's the Wanted movie. Like you just rename the characters and it's a totally different story. Like it doesn't
line up with the comic.
It doesn't line up. Yeah, the only thing that lines up is like the character is an assassin. That's it. Like it doesn't talk about. I mean, for people who haven't read the series, I don't want to spoil it. So, but yeah, that's one I'm looking forward to reading. That one's, you know, it's not like 60s old, but it's old-ish.
Okay.
Old for me.
Maybe I'll check it out.
Yeah, man.
That movie was one of those that I kind of just forgot 10 minutes after I saw it. I didn't hate it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, for what it was, and then I would tell people that, and they're like, "Oh man, no, like, that was awful." I'd ask them, "Really? Why?" It's like it's not like is the book much better? And they're like, "No, the book is they're not even the same. Like the book's totally different." So I'm looking forward to reading that series. And then he's got other things he does. So he's got like the Malar verse sort of, and apparently they're all interconnected, but they're different stories. So kind of starting that in the beginning, and then I've got the Longbow Hunters, Mike Grell's Green Arrow run. I'm excited to read that. Oh, man, we need to do like a comic book club.
Printing of the first 4 issues of that.
Oh, really? Sweet. Yeah. That's cool, man.
Or at least the first 2. But again, it's been so long since I've even dug through my boxes. So
nice. Yeah, that's I couldn't really find the individual issues, so I just bought like a big fat omnibus of, like 50 issues. So it's just like, because I'm not, some of the older stuff I'm not. I mean, I've picked up a lot of books to collect, but if I'm going to pick stuff up nowadays, especially with the little amount of time I have to actually read comics, I'd like to just read it. You know what I mean? Like I'll just get the volume or whatever, and that way I don't have to hunt for the individuals.
Yeah, if you just want to read it, that's a good way to go.
Yeah, I just want to read it.
Oh, I just want the trade paperback or omnibus, and I'm cool with that. I got one of Conan a few years ago, and
nice.
Yeah, it's just all kinds of big, thick, tons of issues of Conan.
Hell yeah.
Like, yeah. I'm going to probably reread that.
Yeah, that would be a cool one. I also picked up, I actually just happened to be in a store. I picked up the first, I think it's a trade or the volume. It's the first 9 issues of Battle Chasers. Because the guy who made that is, he started that up again. Although apparently the artist is different and stuff. So there's some like hardcore fans are not happy about that. But I don't know. I mean, it looks cool. It's more indie, but it's the guy who the artist or the writer? I think it's the artist. He originally he was working on that, and then he went to do video game art and did what's that series? Is it Overlord? No. I don't remember. It's something to do with like the god of death.
Okay.
I'll if you know what I'm talking about, chat, put it in the comments. I'll have to look it up and tell you later. But anyways, well, I think that's as good a place as any to end.
Okay, and I just read Ghosts of Matatumbe Key from Graham Nolan. That's every one of Graham's books doesn't disappoint. So it's Compass Comics. They're all like monster or horror based, so it's not superhero, but it's right up my alley. And he's everyone I've liked so far. Can't complain. So
nice, cool.
But first, by Hardly Heroes, and then.
And then here I'll play us out with a nice little trailer for Mercenary Guild for anyone who jumped in. All right, here we go. Ready, go.
In a small, war-ravaged town on a remote island, an evil once thought banished still lurks deep within the land and is reawakening. In this slowly healing community torn between 2 factions, an outcast band of adventurers strive to rebuild their lives and make this island their new home. As darkness encroaches upon the weary citizens, only the Mercenary Guild stands in its way. Join the guild at themercenaryguild.com to receive an exclusive Elven Sorceress trading card.
All right, everybody, go sign up for Mercenary Guild at themercenaryguild.com.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. We'll, we'll see y'all next week.
All right.
On Shattermare
Same
Live.
time, same channel.
Thanks. Goodbye.